kind of rapid fire through some of these Goody things from yesterday, guys. Let's begin with what he had to say about Christian Watson missing time. Josh, you give me number 5.
Yeah, I think obviously Christian's going to miss some time, probably at the beginning more than likely. So we'll kind of see where that goes. But, yeah, I think, that's going to create opportunities for some guys we have on the roster now that I'm excited for. So we'll kind of see how that shakes out. But we got a long way to go. I mean, we got free agency, the draft, everything coming up.
Chewy, what is he basing that on?
Crap. It's just a BS answer. It's just like, he's just telling you nothing, right? And I see part of it. He doesn't want to show his hand.
Well, but also, we really know nothing in terms of his rehab at this point.
But no, I'm talking specifically about the part where he says this will be opportunities for other guys to step up. Christian Watson has been hurt before, unfortunately.
Yes.
I'm not trying to, rub the guy's nose in it, but when he has been out, there have been opportunities for the other guys who currently exist in the Packers wide receivers room to step up, have they?
Like Jen, the FU, the follow-up that we learned yesterday,
he's never
should
gonna
have
forget that.
been.
He's never going to forget that.
Good. It's called a legacy drop.
Yeah, should have been. Well, didn't they have an opportunity to step up last year and they didn't?
Yes,
okay,
that's
Goody.
what I just said.
Right?
But also, what else they say that anytime somebody gets injured who's a starter.
I know.
It's a lot of opportunity for somebody to step up.
We need more production from the receiver room. That's what we need, and one of these guys has to separate themselves and start trending towards a number one. That's how I would have answered it.
Everything's got to be political. Yes, you don't want to say anything. Ted
be?
Thompson has never said anything interesting, and Brian Gutekunst subscribes to that as well. He's just not going to say anything. He's not going to tip his hand. He's not going to let you know that this is the direction that they're trending and heading in. It's just the way he operates.
Here was his reaction to Josh Jacobs saying that the team needs a wide receiver one, number 4, Joshy.
Yeah, really what our players say in the media doesn't really affect our, the way we're going to go about things. I have a lot of private conversations with our players, and that's very important to me. How they feel towards our locker room and our team is important to me, but what happened, it doesn't really move the needle for me.
Well, you know what, let me just ask you guys this, right? Because we're spinning our wheels. We've been spinning our wheels here for a couple years now, right? How long does Goody have to win a Super Bowl? Great. Hey, we went 11-6. Wonderful. Hey, and lost in the first round. Great. Wonderful. If this keeps going on for 3 years, 11-6, and then don't go anywhere in the playoffs, I'm sorry, man. You got to fire the guy. Because I always said the greatest GMs are the ones that roll the dice and take chances, not that one that treads water. And I'm a 4-year window wide open as opposed to 8 years of just half open. Sorry.
Yeah, but he still has 3 or 4 years, too. Before that's even.
Give me 3 or 4, Gabe.
Unless everything implodes and they win 4 games next year, then the seat becomes hot and it could become 2 years. But right now, on the track that they're on, yeah, he's got 3 or 4 years before I think it's even a conversation.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's good for the Redskins. You know what I mean? That's good for.
But it took you guys. It took you guys from the moment that Brett became the starter. It took you guys 3-4 years to win a Super Bowl.
I know, but Gabe, how many years are we into Goody already?
Yeah, but okay, yeah, Goody's been here for a long time, but it's the Jordan Love clock now. It was a different job when Aaron Rodgers was the quarterback versus when you turn the page and turn it over to Jordan Love.
He's got 3 years. He has 3 years.
Yeah, 3
and
or 4
then I would
years,
can him like tuna. Okay.
I'm just thinking about that. I'm trying to in my brain, I'm trying to imagine a world where the Green Bay Packers fire the GM.
Yeah. Again, if you're not in a position, because previously the GMs win Super Bowls early. So that gave them the safety and leeway, in 3 or 4 years, if Goody hasn't won one, that's almost a decade into his tenure.
But wouldn't he lean on being a perennial postseason team? Wouldn't he lean on the record? Wouldn't he lean on the relative success?
Cool.
Listen, I'm with you. I don't think it's been good enough. right? And there are people out there who will say, oh, Green Bay Packers fans are so spoiled. They don't even know a good thing when they have it. Because there is a precedent of winning championships. And so, yes, every year Packers fans go into the offseason saying, okay, we're close. We've been close. What do we got to do to take that next step?
Well, so right now, he's obviously in the middle of whatever his plan is, right? Okay, here's the Jordan Love clock. It started. We have a plan. We're going to go. We're really young. Here's how we're going to build this thing out. In 3 years, like that plan should be completed. Like there's not going to be really pivoting off of that plan. So yeah, in 3 or 4 years, if you haven't gotten to an NFC Championship game again, if you haven't won the division, if you haven't gotten to a Super Bowl, if you haven't done the things that's necessary to be on top, yeah, then that seat's hot and he's probably gone.
Isn't it probably most closely tied to Jordan Love? If Jordan Love ends up being not what he got paid for, and they have to then enter into the QB roulette of drafting one and hoping that's where it comes to cross, I think, for Goody. Because,
well, yeah, but if in 3 years, if we don't think Jordan Love's good enough, yeah, then everybody's gone.
Right. So that's like, to me, where it happens. Just being like, you haven't achieved at the high enough, like, that's what bad teams do. Bad teams are the ones who fire their coaches because they're making the playoffs or their GMs, but not going quite far enough and not committing the moves.
Well, so if they're just a 6 or 7 seed the next 3 years,
I think you can have a conversation.
That's NFL purgatory. Like, that's the worst place to be.
Right, but that's also like, there's a lot of context needed in there. Like, shouldn't the Packers have been in a Super Bowl and Goody did enough? Like taking them to NFC Championship games in the Aaron Rodgers, Matt LaFleur.
Again, but to me, the Aaron Rodgers era is done and over with. Like he's now being judged, like, and he has said it as well. Like his career is going to be tied to Jordan Love.
Right. But isn't there a time you need to pivot off your plan?
Yes.
We're not. I don't think we're anywhere near that, though.
Oh,
really?
I think we're near it.
We just completed year 2 of Jordan Love as the starter.
No, I know, but when you're close, and this is what we were saying, like, and again, this is what extends to the Brewers, with the Brewers being close and fans wanting them to go out and make a splash play or at least address some of the areas where they lost players. When you're close, I do feel like there is a responsibility by the front office to say, okay, we had a plan, right? And the plan seems to be going well, but we're so close that these little tweaks, these little additions could get us over the hump and better ensure it's a crapshoot. I understand, like, there's no guarantee that you put together a roster and it's going to win a Super Bowl. What do we get us closer to feeling confident that we could compete?
But they're not that close.
Gabe.
They're not that close. They finished third in the division last year as the 7 seed. Like, I would argue that they're not that close right now.
Gabe, look at the teams that have won the Super Bowl in the last whatever years. They all took chances. Go back to the Rams. What'd they do? You know what? Goff ain't working for us, man. He got us to a Super Bowl, and it still ain't working. What'd they do?
Yeah, they upgraded.
They went and got Stafford, right? What'd Kansas City do? Holy cow, we're rolling. You know what? This Hill guy, I think he's a little low. Let's get rid of Hill, right? What'd they do? They still won Super Bowls.
Yeah, because they had Travis Kelce and they had Patrick Mahomes. Like, I feel...
But to your point, you feel like they don't have enough superstars, right? Yeah. You have said that over and over and over again. So go out and bleep and get one.
Where? Where are you going to get one from?
Well,
we can sit here until we're blue in the face.
I agree with you because we have talked about Myles Garrett. We have talked about Max Crosby. We have talked about some of these guys. But maybe Davante Adams is that guy.
Yeah,
maybe Davante Adams is and it's staring us. And this is where I think general managers have to avoid that gut reaction to I'm a zig when they want me to zag. No, just zag. In this instance, could you just zag? Everyone wants you to zag. We all think this is the right move. Just zag. You don't need to outsmart everybody. You don't need to show your acumen. Just do what makes the most sense.
Yeah, I'm Davante Adams or bust at wide receiver. Like I don't know if adding Stephon Diggs does anything for me. There's not really a wide receiver after Davante that's going to get me really excited about that wide receiver room in 2025. There's just not. So if it's not Davante Adams, and maybe he does decide that he wants to go play with Aaron Rodgers in the Los Angeles with the Rams because they gave the Eagles the best game out of anybody in the playoffs, and the Rams decide, hey, we still have some pieces. Yeah, we'll trade away Matthew Stafford. Let's make a run with it with Aaron, and Davante decides to supplement because he wants to be on the West Coast.
Yeah, but you know what you do? You know what you do as the Packers? You overpay the flipping guy.
Why would the Rams, just 1 second, and I know I don't want to get too off topic here, but why would the Rams cash in Matthew Stafford for an older, more challenging, more difficult Aaron Rodgers?
Because Stafford wants $50 million.
What's Rodgers going to take? 7? Like
30?
Yeah.
What they're paying Stafford right now?
I suppose it could happen. I'd be very surprised if that ends up being the way this shakes out.
Yeah, Rodgers is going to be significantly cheaper.
I don't think that Sean McVay wants another stopgap.
No,
Sean McVay either wants to say, this is our quarterback of the future.
Stafford's also
you know what, though? You know what I think with McVay?
I'd keep the stopgap that you have.
But you know what I think with McVay, Jen? I think he's waiting to pull Sean Payton. I'm going to take a year. I think I'm going to retire, take a year off, go do TV for a year, and then go to a new place where he can start anew.
He's already
because he's kind of he's spinning wheels there.
I back to the Packers. I think we're might be falling victim to rushing to judgment to Goody not doing things that he hasn't even had the opportunity to do yet. Like Devontae, he can't even talk about at this point. He even said as much when he was sort of some of the things were floated out there. Like I think we would be in the right to be upset by sort of inaction, just sort of mid-level free agents, guys who could maybe get better, we don't know, and then draft picks. I think you would be within your right, but he did say they have a sense of urgency. So either we have to believe those were empty words that had no intention, or
which wouldn't be the first time from him,
right? Or he does view it as this team needs more superstars, and we need to use all our avenues to get better.
Again, my problem with that is that this free agent class, and he talked about it a little bit about it yesterday. This free agent class stinks.
Right,
it's bad. Like there's no backup plan. There's no backup plan for, well, if you don't get Devontae, you can fall back on this guy. Like it's just.
But Gabe,
after
does this,
like the first 2 or 3 guys, all it is mid-level free agents.
Let me ask you this: why does this crap seem to only happen in Green Bay? Right? You get rid of Rodgers, which seemed to be the right move, right?
Yeah.
You don't give Devontae the money when you should have gave it to him, right?
Yeah.
You're going to lose a top 5 player on the roster this year because he won't play in 𝘾𝙃, right? Why does that only happen to Green Bay?
It doesn't. It happens in a lot of other places. We're just not hyper locked in and focused. I mean, take a look at the Giants let 2 All-Pros walk out the door last year in Saquon Barkley and Xavier McKinney. Let both those guys, first-team All-Pro, walk out the door.
And what do we think of the Giants?
Yeah, they're
what
a
do we
bad
think of the
team.
Giants?
Yeah.
They're buffoons, right?
Yeah, but I mean, again,
I'm just saying.
You talked about the Chiefs. They decided to trade away Tyreek Hill. The same thing the Packers did with Devontae Adams.
The Eagles lost Hassan Reddick.
Yeah. Like teams lose really good players all the time.
But they recycle them and they get better and they trade for A.J. Brown and he drafts well. He gets Carter and Bond. Could they have gotten Bond? Because the draft side is the other part of it.
Well, but Bond,
now, Jay,
Gabe,
if they do nothing,
if they do an All-Pro, they would have done it. Like Goody's done that.
Edge rusher.
Yeah, the Packers have done that with Devondre Campbell. Like they've done that at different times. Like this is not a Packers exclusive thing. This is a thing that we pay attention to the Packers the most, but it happens elsewhere in the league.
But if they don't do anything with the D line, now do you have to keep Eric Stokes, which was a bad pick, because you're going to lose a top 5 player on your team? Something you really don't want to do, but you backed yourself into a corner where you have to.
I don't know if they have to. I still think that Goody left that door open. I think there's a chance that 𝘾𝙃's on the team next year.
And I don't think 𝘾𝙃 and Eric Stokes are related. If one is there, the other's gone.
No, I'm saying from the D-line standpoint, because you can't have crap corners out there when your D-line is 26 in the league. Then you're going to get smoked. Then you have zero chance.
Yeah, look, but there's just no way. I don't know where they're going to upgrade on the defensive line outside of trying to get somebody in the first round. And again, then you supplement with a mid-level free agent and kind of hope that Van Ness and Gary get better.
It does feel like we are in a sort of loop of having to address the defensive line every year now. Like theoretically, it's one that you'd like to be able to get sort of what we had talked about with the wide receivers, Gabe, where you kind of are filling and you're filling and you're filling, and then you've got wily veterans and you've got new guys with a lot of potential, and you're kind of, cover your bases that way.